Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're here to talk about episode 19 of Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, called The White Haze, which just so happens to be Ramon's favorite beer. Am I right, Ramon, on that? You like that white haze kind of beer?
Pretty close, but no.
Pretty close. And I also have with me, you know him as Raul, aka Modelo. What's going on, Raul? Say hi to the people.
I do like Modelo.
There you go. You're a
That's
Modelo too, Raul.
Yeah. You're
I don't know
Modelo,
how
and
to
then
do
that's Ramona's Corona.
There you go.
Those are my nicknames for you guys. But I'm excited to talk about Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, man. Ramon, you're somebody that's new to Bleach. I think I really want to hear from you because you're all about the depressing, the stressful situations, the darkness. So what does somebody like you think about this episode, man? Like I feel like this is gonna be the test of whether you really, really love Bleach or you just been faking it these past 18 episodes or whatever we've been recording on it.
Well, even if I was faking it, what would you do? Kick me out now? Hell no. No, no. It's funny too, right? Because like you said, okay, like this is like Ramon's episode, or like it's something related to me, and I'm like so curious. When I went into it, I'm like, well, what is it gonna really be about, or what is it gonna have to do? And yes, of course, immediately I thought about some freaking melancholic, depressing, like morbid something. But it was kind of close. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm skipping the first part. I really enjoy like that middle, very horror kind of approach to it, like the Sternritter F. I love his like freaking ability and everything, and then freaking Rukia with her like Bankai and everything that happened was just beautiful. Like I feel like that was just like a really good story within itself, and just the fear element, the psychology between them two during that whole time. It was definitely great. So many great elements to it. And then again, I know that I'm missing a lot because I haven't seen all of the rest of Bleach besides Thousand Year Blood War. But I know there's an element that you guys are gonna highlight so much, and it's that relationship between Rukia and her brother. Because even though I don't have that emotional connection, by the time I got there, even I was tearing up a little bit by being like, "Oh my god, like it's a sibling thing, man." It's like
Yeah.
and just like seeing enough already. Like even I was proud of her from just a little bit I've known her, so I could only imagine you guys and everybody else has kind of like experienced it. But no, yeah, definitely great episode, and I think this is another one that I was very mesmerized by everything going on and the visuals. And man, once we get to talking about the freaking Sternritter F, he was crazy. Love that guy. I know, weird.
Oh, nice. What about you, Modelo? What did you think about it?
This so I totally forgot what her Sanpakuto does or did before this episode, because it's been so long since we've seen her.
Yeah.
And then it was cool seeing her again. I still kind of miss like parts of her personality that you saw before. That she especially had around Ichigo, but it was really cool to see her. And then that moment with her brother, it was like, dang, I don't know, it was cool. It was cool to see that. And then I don't know, just like that whole interaction was really cool to do. And then the F for fear, I'm guessing, like he was pretty cool. It's an interesting power to have.
Oh yeah.
No, man, and like I'm gonna try so hard not to like right away jump into it, but Ramon, like you said, there's just something about us that have been fans from the very beginning that we do have a relationship with Rukia. And the craziest thing about it, man, when you do go back and rewatch Bleach from the beginning, there is very, very, very early in the beginning, there's a thing where they're gonna execute Rukia for giving Ichigo his powers. Technically, she's the one responsible for making him Soul Reaper.
Soul Reaper.
Yeah. And then even though they're gonna execute her and everybody's trying to like rescue her or try to get to there to like be like, like don't execute Rukia, her brother's the one's actually like okay with having her being executed, and he's the one that's actually being like fighting everybody else that's actually trying to save her. So it's so crazy because even Renji in the beginning goes against him because he's trying to like save Rukia because they grew up together. So it's so insane. That's why I think this makes it even so emotional that early on this guy, because you gotta remember Rukia's not even his real sister. That's his like adopted sister. Yeah, because he married his Rukia's sister and then she passed away and then she kind of like came into the family. I think Raul, you previously had explained that. But dude, so many cool things. But let's get into the intro, man. We finally see Ichigo, which we didn't get him in the last episode. So what did you guys think about that? And we got an explanation why they're wearing really cool gear. I like that. I was like, go ahead, Ramon.
No, I was about to say, I'm like that's probably like the best takeaway from that beginning part is that you see Ichigo all here in his snow freaking chic gear, and then right away they start explaining it, right? Like he's finally done with his training, he's ready to go down back to the Cerate, and they're talking about like he needs all that protective cover because there's like what 72 levels between the freaking the upper area and the Cerate, and it's just it's crazy, but. Not just that, man. It's just that whole idea of like because he was training, they didn't even tell him that the freaking Quincy's had started attacking already, and when he did, boom, down.
Dude, I started that episode, and when they said that about the 72 layers, like I laughed really out loud, and I think I rewinded just to like hear that explanation again. And my wife was like so confused, like, why did you make that noise? Like, what's so funny? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like in the last episode, we were trying to figure out why these guys were dressed in winter gear, and clearly we find out the reason. The only thing that I kind of thought it was funny is like, was the stairs really necessary? Is anybody taking the stairs down? It feels like everybody's jumping off.
I mean, so like I was wondering that too because like it seems like Ichigo obviously is like pretty awesome and crazy, but it's just like someone like Rukia. Like you guys tell me, do you think she's someone that would have plummeted down, like skydived all the way down? Like
yeah, that's what they all did.
Considering that she has a Bankai now, she probably didn't have to.
That's true. Maybe that's a test. Maybe that's another part of the test. It's like climb down the stairs.
Well, dude, this whole thing about it'll take you like I don't know if it was like a week and a half or a week by just doing like the flash steps, which is like their ability to move really fast, Ramon. So I was like, oh my god, like no, obviously even I would have just jumped off.
Yeah.
So that was.
But no,
that was
it was
cool.
even cool. It was cool seeing that in motion when Ichigo finally jumped down, but just even the idea of like once he's done talking on the phone and then he does this little ultrasonic like freaking sonic speed all the way down. Yeah, that was pretty great.
Dude, he has that phone call that he calls and he's like, hey, this is going to sound cocky, but just wait a little bit there till I get there and I'll make things better. Ro, and you've seen Bleach from the beginning. Do you really think Ichigo can make that much of a difference? Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't know why there's this high expectation that Ichigo can just come in and like mess everything up because Ichigo's powerful, but he's not like a god level where he can just come in like Naruto and start like beating everybody up.
Well, here's kind of the thing, though. Like, he was really the only one that could beat Aizen, because like in the whole thing, that was part of it. The fact that he was already as strong as like the captains.
Yeah.
Because like in his path to become stronger and then to like learn the name of a Sanpakuto and then eventually get his Bankai, he beat some captains like on the way to do that. So yeah, like the captain is supposed to be better now, but these Quincy's are even stronger than like most of the captains. But in Ichigo at this point, he better already be probably the strongest, if not like one of the like top 2-3.
So you're
and
thinking
then with his training up there, he's got to be even stronger than that now.
So you're thinking he's gonna land and go straight for the Quincy like guy? Like he's like, if I get the leader, then they're all just gonna fall down like a domino effect. I got you.
Or something like that. Yeah, like he's not gonna go around finding all the Stone Raiders. He might fight like one or two, because they'll be defending, and he might end up fighting the B or whoever that the blonde guy is.
I think we got his letter, man. I think his letter is the letter S, and he's the scale. So I think we gotta reveal that
scale of judgment. Yeah,
that's what it is. What did you think of that, Ramon? By any chance? Oh, sorry.
No, well, I was just saying, like, I thought it was like the idea of like what's his name, Uruhara. Like he was already questioning the whole idea of like, do you think we're gonna make it? Like, you think we would have been better prepared otherwise? So just the fact that phone call with Ichigo as he was coming down, I don't know. I guess that's still part of like my half knowledge of his abilities, because it's the same thing too. Like, here they are already talking about like, damn, the things that we should have done, what else can we do? And they're already thinking about their survival rate and how long they're going to last. But it is kind of crazy to think that Ichigo is going to be like the one sole like changing like aspect to the whole fight. But no, I don't know, man. I think for me, it's just because again, my half knowledge about it and not knowing enough, it just kind of leaves me of like, oh, cool. We'll see what they do with it or what Ichigo actually does. But that's my thought that I was thinking, is just like, where does he go? Who does he start with? That'd be cool to see.
No, you know what? And actually, trying to ask you about the scale. So I don't know if you can go a little bit
Oh, the
like, what did you,
scale. You want
like,
to jump to that?
yeah, like, what did you think
Yeah.
about like the scale and his like power, why he was doing that, man? That felt like, I was also like on the side of being an Ichida. Like, why are you getting rid of these like powerful beings where they could probably help out at the battlefield, and straight up they're just getting executed?
Well, I loved it the moment that we were waiting from, like, the cliffhanger from last episode was basically that Sternritter
Yeah.
as like about to explain to him like why like your watch is crazy or what else he is. And I think that execution scene was pretty great for that reason, right? Because one, they're freaking, they don't care, right? Like, you failed at your job, so you're gonna get executed. And yes, of course, it seems like a crazy thing when you clearly saw how strong they are, because they basically almost defeated the people they were going against. But at that
The
point,
captains.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like they're really valuable like assets to like he said, like they're really valuable assets. And just to know that they're gonna be sacrificed or they're gonna be what is it called, executed, just goes
Yeah.
to show you maybe kind of the overall plan, which he talks a little bit about, right? He says like, okay, obviously he goes to hit him or he goes to decapitate him, and he has that iron ability. And was that ability that he has, or is that something that maybe just happens
No,
if the sword says that you're not supposed to die? Or
I think that was his ability, like the iron, which is kind of crazy that we didn't really get him. Like, I thought, my
doing it.
understanding is the last time we saw him, Toshiro had him frozen, and then he leveled up to his like next level power. And then I guess we're led to believe like Toshiro defeated him again, and now he ended up there. Like, I don't know, I was just so
Yeah.
confused because that guy had potential, man. He was cool looking. He kind of reminded me, and people were making the comparison between him and Toji from Jujutsu Kaisen. So I
Yeah.
think that was a little bit of wasted potential with that character.
Yeah, but then when it goes from there, like, oh, like, your iron like saved you, but also you can be saved from judgment. And then yes, you have that crazy scene of the scale tipping, and then absolutely just like blood splatter everywhere. and then the next thing you see the freaking the robot, the freaking cyborg looking dude, just like also his head start rolling on the ground. And then again, it still goes to that, like, that the rest of that conversation basically saying that anyone that came out of Yawatch or Yahuba Haba, anyone that came out of him basically has to go back into him. And that's when he goes to say why he does or why they do. And that's when they silenced it, right? So they were muted, we couldn't hear it, and we're like, wait, what? Like, what was the reason? So I'm really curious to see what is the real reason. Like, I don't know if it's just he's an eternal being, but without that life force, he dies. Like, I don't know. That's a little strange. I don't know what you guys think about it. Like that part of it, like him having to consume the souls back of the people that he created.
I wonder if it kind of has to do with like that's how he gets experience, kind of.
Yeah, like Naruto.
Because whatever they experience and like in the fight, whatever they learn, like whenever they get executed and he like, I'm guessing he like absorbs them or their energy or whatever. And then when he does that, he kind of gains their experience, so he becomes stronger.
But is that enough reason to like execute them? Like when they're such like great assets? Because I mean, they did explain that. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think he is, or like, what do you think of? I don't know. I'm so curious to see what else is so great about him, or what kind of force he is.
What the one other glimpse we get of him in this episode is when, later on in the episode where the fear, you kind of get his backstory. Which I thought was cool because we don't typically see backstories for some of these people, like what they were doing before he came in and granted them power. So, dude, I hate to say it, man, but if I was the fear and I was also laying in bed and I've been suffering because we don't know what he had or how long he's been suffering, and he's almost at the point where he's going to die, and he's just scared of, like, is this pain going to continue once I go to hell, or is it going to be like we're in heaven, things are going to be okay? And if some guy out of nowhere came in dressed in black or in a Hitler uniform and granted me power to, like, be well, and all of a sudden, like, I don't feel this pain, I think I also would have blindly like followed them, and all of a sudden, like, yes, I'm gonna do your bidding because you saved me from this like suffering. He didn't even ask to be saved. Like, this guy just appeared and saved him. So it's like, again, it's like we keep saying he's sort of like this Jesus Christ, but it's almost like it was for that guy, man. He was in his bed dying, and all of a sudden this guy comes in and it's like, you've lived, or I forget exact words that he uses, but then he's all of a sudden, like, I guess he grants him like the power of F.
Yeah,
the fear.
I don't know, but yeah, I think that scene was good for that reason too, because like, I don't know, I still was under the assumption, or I guess from when they were talking about your watch and all the stuff, is like he creates some of these people, but then also like there's clearly people that have their lives beforehand. So it was like, I guess there was still a little bit of confusion for me. I'm like, man, this guy had a whole life before then. Like, he was like a young kid, like F. that he was like still like a young kid and whatever was going on. But yeah, I guess you are right about that whole Jesus power of him coming in and kind of converting these people to be Quincy's. But then it's like, how do you convince these people to fight for you? And I guess for F, what was significant during the fight is that he was saying that it wasn't like like you said, it wasn't just the salvation and being saved by him. It was that he was actually afraid of failing him. Like he was afraid of what would happen if he disappointed him. So I don't know. That's like a kind of double-edged sword, man. Did you ask to get saved? No, but now you're like terrified.
Yeah, and the other thing too about him is that he can like cut off anybody's power too, like any other Quincy's power, because that's how Ichigo's mom died. Yeah. Because like he like cut off her power so she couldn't beat the Hollow.
No, I feel like it's almost like Demon Slayer. Like it's like this guy finds people that are kind of like bad in their core. Like they're probably like all of these people are like bad people in real life, and they were probably like in really low places in their lives. And then he just probably came in, granted them power, and now they're serving under him. So even though the fear, we're kind of feeling, I'm feeling sorry for him because he was again in pain, wanting to didn't want to die. He could have technically have been a bad person his whole life. So I didn't see the past 30 years for me to know if he was technically a good person. He could have just been a crappy person. Because honestly, even though you got power, nothing tells you to be like this terrible person. And dude, that dude was he made it a point. Like he owned the fact that he was the fear. Like that was his thing. He owned it. He's like, I'm gonna cause you your worst nightmares. And I thought, I don't know, man, it was just really cool. Like it was just really well done character, and I wasn't expecting this level of animation with him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of a curse. We've been talking about Jujutsu Kaisen so much. And I think one of the things that we have been finding out in most recent is that a sorcerer can turn themselves into a curse if they want to. It's kind of like that whole idea. Like he, obviously it's not like he, again, with that whole concept that he was saved, it's not like he had a choice, right? He was saved. So now he kind of owes his life to Yhwach and the Quincy's. But it's like you said, there's something about him, not just because he has to prove himself and kind of do his job, but he is picking fear to be the thing that he's his power, right? Yeah. But then as you see the fight progress, I'm skipping details because we'll come back to it, but as I see the fight progress, he turns more and more into a freaking crazy ass curse. And so you just think that the more and more it goes, the more he's afraid of disappointing Yhwach. I think as the crazier and more curse-like that he becomes. It's it becomes out of control. And that's one of the things that I really liked out of it. Because in horror movies, you see that all the time, right? Horror movies start with glimpses of whatever's scary, either a ghost or things moving. Little by little, things start shooting across the room. Eventually you start seeing apparitions, and the last thing you know, there's a freaking flying witch at you or something like that. So it was that same idea. Yeah.
Well, dude, when Rukia was flying and she felt this being touch her, and she felt these creepy moments, it's dude, that is kind of the worst, man. When you're home alone or any moment where you're in a creepy place and all of a sudden you feel something, but you can't prove that something actually touched you, or you don't understand what was there. It's the worst feeling, man. So I don't know if that's part of his power, but just the idea that she felt that, that was really creepy. And I made a moment, I tagged that moment. I'm oh my God, that's such a creeper moment for me personally, to get that feeling, those chills of somebody touching you.
So let me tell you something, and for you listeners too, go back and rewatch the episode with the headphones on, because the second rewatch that I did of it, I had the headphones on. That fight scene was incredible with the headphones, because Carlos, exactly what you talked about is how it feels. That one scene when she does her one initial attack, and then everything starts to unfreeze, and then all of a sudden he's behind her, literally one of my my earpieces just kind of made a sound out of nowhere by itself, nothing on this side, and it is just very I told you, just watching it with the headphones on was very much like watching a scary movie, and even more so being in that mindset of oh my God, where's she talking? Oh my God, over here. And then as he's kind of moving around and doing the crazy stuff later in the fight, the sound around my headset was spinning and doing all these crazy things, and I'm just man, that's so beautiful. So that's one of the main reasons why I do love this episode, is because that fight alone just had so many great elements. I haven't seen that. Jujutsu Kaisen, we're doing that because the show's about curses and fears and things like that. But in Bleach, it's the first time that I really got in that.
I feel they're really doing the animation and the they're doing just amazing things, man. You can't help to look at this show and just like everything feels high quality. Every shot feels like it's amazing. And this is another one of those episodes where the whole fight was the intro. Like that was another thing. It's like the whole fight to the very end was like that was the intro, and I'm loving it. I'm doing everything that this studio is doing with Bleach. Like I love the fact that nobody's probably telling them to do these things, but like they're coming up with very creative ways of like saying the name of the episode, or when to even like drop that knowledge. So I do like that a lot. Ro, I know you mentioned like you forgot like Rukia's powers, but do you want to tell us a little bit about it or what you thought about it? Like, I want to say that I felt like her Bankai is stronger than Tochiro, that he's supposed to have like the strongest like ice element Bankai. Like, I feel like Harris was even stronger than his. So I'm like, do you agree with that or you disagree with that at this point?
Yeah, so with her Bankai, like at first I thought it was like, wait, isn't this the same thing? But then it was it's different in the sense that like, so he controls ice. He creates ice, he turns water into ice, and his power is ice. Her power is more temperature, not necessarily just ice.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so her power is like, it doesn't just affect like water, it affects everything. So that's kind of why her, like, why everything worked the way that it did, is because she was able to, and it seems like she lowers her temperature, and by doing that, it affects obviously all the temperature around her. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool in the way that they kind of presented it, and then especially like at the end when with her brother, that he was kind of coaching her like increase slowly the temperature, stuff like that. So it seems like it's really cool. I'm still kind of iffy on like how it works, because if her temperature is that low, like how is she still able to move and stuff like that? But I don't know. It's really cool. And in some ways it seems kind of like scary to like try to fight against something like that, because what you got to stay like super far away with some sort of like magic type of blasts or something. I don't know.
But it was, yeah.
But go
Sorry,
ahead.
No, I was saying it was just very fitting for who she was fighting, because you said that it's kind of scary to go against something like that. But that was the whole point of the beginning of the fight, is that he was trying to attack her with his fear attacks, and she was stopping everything, and he's like, how is this happening? Like, you should not be able to like defend my attacks. And she's explaining that basically she's so cold inside that she's basically dead. And so the idea of like someone with fear and then someone who's basically dead fighting at the same time, like, it's like, that's a cool matchup, man. It's good. I like that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did like the explanation on when she was increasing or decreasing her temperature. It's like, now the ground's gonna start breaking around me. And like a lot of the people, like Toshiro freezes people all the time, Ramon, and then they always never truly die. With her, nothing led me to believe that when she freezes you, like you can just wake up from that. Like you can all of a sudden like be unfrozen. Even though she kind of like the fear did it in the beginning, but we saw when he unfroze himself, like part of his skin like ripped off, and part of me feels like that wasn't just his like powering up, like that was probably because of Rukia's Bankai, that the reason why like his skin just like tore off and he started doing all these like crazy things in his inner body. So I really love that transformation overall. But that was really cool. That was a highlight for me. Like they didn't have to go that hard, but they went hard.
No, and you know what? You know what's funny, because like one thing I can provide insight in is that, again, last season of the 1,000-Year Blood War, like episode 6, the one with the head captain, this reminded me of that fight when he was going through the transitions of explaining like his creation of heat within him, and he was so hot to one point that like he absorbed all the moisture from the air. So again, I assume that she's obviously not as strong as he is, but like when I was watching the fight, and especially as she's kind of lowering her temperature and she's like saying it out loud, I definitely felt like she was basically doing like the head captain move at that point, but backwards, like so negative. I mean, she was talking about like negative 275 degrees Celsius, which is like what, negative 400 some. It's like crazy in Fahrenheit. Like,
she pretty much went to 0 Kelvin, or almost 0 Kelvin.
So it's like,
you can't go to 0 Kelvin.
And it's like you said, it's like at that point, I think it is right. Like, as opposed to like being frozen on the outside in like a layer of ice, it seems like it would have been more internal. And yeah, it seemed like he was frostbitten when he like the ice broke off. But yeah, I mean, she definitely, like, she surprised me with that one, because it's like I didn't know, first of all, that, well, clearly because she came down from training too with these guys. But it's just like her level, and just again, jumping the gun to the very end with her brother, that it seems that now that you guys explain more story about her relationship with the brother, it seems that he even commends her and is really like thinking of her highly for just her abilities now. And it's just like, I don't know, it was just really crazy. But it shows that level of power like the head captain did in that episode 6 of the last season.
No, I'm glad you guys are so smart that you guys can bring these like science terms into the conversation.
Well, I'm a science nerd.
Yeah,
I was gonna go further into it, but I was like, no, I won't.
You can. This is a nerd podcast, so nerd out. Let's go back to like the eyes, dude. I love. How did you guys love like the freaking Sternritter F's? Like what's his name? S Noto. His freaking eyes throughout the fight. All were doing all kinds of different things, and in a couple of the feeding scenes, they're like rolled back, and then they kind of curve back around. One at a time, it's like rup, and then rup, and then later like his eyes increase, and then there's more, and then like he's looking at you sideways, and then like then you have that wall of freaking eyes as well. I don't know. He was crazy.
Yeah, and that wall of eyes was real, like, right? Because that's when her brother came in and like Bakugan, and like he
Slashed it.
split that. Yeah, so like that was real, right? That wasn't just like a mental thing. Like that was actually happening for us. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think that's what. Yeah.
I like how far they like went into the horror part of it. Like so I this is the thing that I like about some animes that whenever they have like a scary character, like this one, they go all in. Like they do a whole like horror part of it, and they like do all the weird transformations and the gore and the like just creepy, like unsettling parts of it. Even the personality and everything that they throw into it all kind of goes and kind of turns this part of the anime into like a horror anime. And I love like how deep they went into the horror part of this.
Yeah, no, it was great. Like, well, the first scene for me, and like Carlos, you said you're doing the thumbnails for this. I hope you did it justice. No, I'm kidding. But no, like one of the first scenes that like I really loved and thought it was creepy is like when he first is in her head, but it's it's still not really happening in real life. Is when she starts like bleeding out black out of her eyes, and then it starts consuming everything engulfed. But I think nothing beats the scene of the flies consuming her. Everything. Yeah, that was just beautiful. But yeah, everything, it reminded me of like Evil Dead for a little bit too, because in Evil Dead there's a lot of the scenes where you have like the demons being like crazy as F, like as Noto, like the Sternritter F was kind of crazy, and then the more and more that he couldn't beat her, the crazier he was getting, and the more he was evolving, the more horrific and terrifying his attacks like became. I definitely love the episode, and just creepy.
No, yeah, like not only like with Rukia, but I think when she was thinking about like her friends, like her brother Ichigo, like they also had a little bit of like a zombie where their like skin is falling apart. So a lot of crazy graphics in this episode.
Well yeah, because if you think about it, like she because of you kind of missed this part of Ramon, but like she grew like a huge attachment to like Ichigo and like Orihime, Chad, like Renji and all that stuff, because like she grew up with Renji like in Soul Society, and then like she spent like forever in the real world with Ichigo and all of them, and then like you could imagine that her biggest fear is like losing the people that she loves, and she's somebody that loves people. She's not heartless. She's not like completely like apathetic to everything. Like she loves these people, so to her fear is like her not being able to like stop these people from dying, and then kind of like their face kind of like melting off is like them dying. So you could see how that was her big fear.
That's perfect.
Yeah, because like people were really hyping up this this episode. As somebody that read the manga, I was a little bit like thinking like, okay, people are doing this whole hype and it's not gonna be this like hype that they're putting into it. And it just kind of tells me that when a studio's really gonna like put the work into it, they can make the work to make any episode or any chapter like truly amazing. Because man, like from what I read to what I saw, like nothing could have prepared me to be like, okay, this is just going to be like, she's going to get her bankai and then her brother comes in and it's like, you take it from here. And it's not going to be very impactful. And it's also going to be a very disappointing episode. But no, they're like everything about it. Like when her brother does come in, and just the idea that in most anime, the brother would come in because he's the big captain and he's like, he technically got defeated by this guy. He would come in and be like, okay, I'm going to take it over from here because I have to like settle my debt with this guy. But it's like just the idea that he's like, I'm not the one that's going to defeat you. And then he walks away, and I'm going to try not to cry. I don't even want to talk about this because I'll cry. But just the idea that he walked away, and it's like, you got this, like, baby girl, baby sister. It's just like, oh my god, that it was just it was great, man. It went from a horror fest to watching like my sister's quinceañera all over again.
Awesome. Oh, see, oh no, me and my sister's quinceañera too.
My sister's had quinceañeras, but I didn't feel that way.
Oh, come on! What a jackass, dude! You don't like dogs. You don't like your sisters. Come on, man! I know you love. I know you love your sisters. I know you love your sisters. I'm kidding. I'm not even gonna go there. Only dogs.
I don't love their dogs though. No, I'm kidding.
Well, my sister's quinceañera is a big deal too because that's the first time I ever saw Maritza, my wife. So that's the first time my wife and me like first ever like saw each other. Or she got a glimpse of me because I think she saw me. Well, I saw her too, but yeah. So that's why it's also a big deal. Like my sister's quinceañera, and that's what it felt like. Man, it felt like me being the brother, like being like, go take your dance because you're a woman now at 15 for some reason.
Dude, I don't even want to say anything anymore. I just want to let you have your moment and be done. Like, we're done, guys. Great episode. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Just kidding, dude. No, I mean, yeah, it was definitely a beautiful moment, and I think, like I said, even not having the emotional attachment, it still felt that way. So, like, it's one of those things that, like, well, first of all, it's funny to see the Sternritter F be negated of the thing that he wanted the most, because in the beginning of the fight, all he kept on asking for was for her brother, like over and over and over, and then just to like like you said, like the brother to really take that side step back and be like, dude, it's all you. And then for her to freaking do what she did, and she even had her quinceañera dress at the end, Carlos.
That's what I'm saying. like, oh my god, like, because it was over so quick. It was like a roll thing, like it was quick done. and
oh my god, what if you had a roll thing?
You gotta apologize and say like next time I'll be longer. But it was just so quick. It was
my god.
it was Bankai. And then everything, and then you see this guy almost like being like, was he apologizing? His last words were like him apologizing, or
to not to them, to Yawatch,
right?
To the Quincy Lord. Yeah, he is apologizing. He was like saying sorry. And
then he just started like breaking apart. But then again, her brother comes in, Bakugan, and just like Raul, he was like, I'm gonna pull it slowly, pull it out slowly, and so that was really great, man. This whole like, take your time, put slowly, do it slowly, like, oh my god.
I think the episode just had so many great moments because yes, that one, like I said, her finishing her Bankai and then being in that dress was kind of like random for me because I'm like, what the heck? Like, what happened? But then you just kind of see like the I don't know, freaking like Elsa powering up, like something crazy like that. And then yes, the fact that her brother came in and it's just like the move at that point, and she had talked about it earlier because she had to stop her attack midway because she knew she couldn't handle it. She almost like she cut herself, like she almost lost control. And this time around, like he was there to kind of guide her and ease her in out of it. And again, just like if you hadn't had enough emotional, full of fear and like kind of like these crazy moments, you had still like that even that moment of him just like holding her hand, like he's standing over her hand to kind of just like ease her out of it was like beautiful. And then that's all you need because he's proud of her, he's freaking like he's like, you did me proud. You did what you had to do. And then now he probably, again, you guys would know better, but now he probably is going to be like, respect her more and just have, because he even said as he was coming down, he could feel her like spiritual, like,
no. And I was trying to make that moment funny just because I can't talk about it without like really like tearing up, man. But yeah, it's just like that. And it's just like, he's like, all right, come on, let's go. Like, come with me. And it's like, it's so cool though, the idea that like going forward, which I don't know if they're ever going to really do the health arc after this one, but just the idea that we could get more of her Bankai in a new storyline, like that makes me really excited. But yeah, go ahead.
You just reminded me, that was my only complaint about the episode is that they freaking threw in the end credits and end credit song on top of all that beautifulness going on.
Oh, yeah.
Because it distracted me a lot, where I feel like if they didn't have that there, if they could have just waited like a few more seconds, it would have been so much more impactful, more beautiful. I was like, wait, what am I reading? What's going on? Like, what the hell? Like, everything.
I hated that because the subtitles had like the translation to the song as well as the translation to what they were saying. And I was like, wait, and then I have to like try to figure out like what they were saying, what the song was saying, and then like it was so annoying.
And I know it's italicized, but I felt
Yeah.
the same way. I kept on reading both, and I think it took away from the moment, because then ultimately you're just kind of like, what just happened? Like, I
Yeah.
know what happened, but like, what was that? Like, why would you put the freaking credits over it, that song over it? Like, if they would have chose a different song, no credits, hold off on that, I think we would have been crying right now again, just thinking about it, because But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if you guys want to even talk about the next part of Bleach, because we could probably hold on to the next week's episode and kind of tie it together, because we get a little bit of a Kenny's lieutenant, the pink little hair girl,
Oh,
Kenpashi's
dude, I
lieutenant.
love her.
So we should probably like save our energy, because I feel like we should just do this episode justice, and like that was the big thing, the
That was
whole
beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
finally, and it was great episodes. The only thing that I do want to say, because I've been paying more attention to how like the episodes end and the last words on it, they give you like a hint for the next episode. But did you guys catch what it was this time? Like the last words of the episode, when it's like starts giving you the glimpse for the next one.
I did half an hour ago.
And well, it's pretty much like it was one sentence. It's like beauty means that there is nothing there, and I'm like, dude, like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean if you're beautiful, you don't really have a personality inside of you? Like, that's how I took it. So I don't know if there is more of a meaning to that. What do you think, Ramon?
I mean, you could think about it as like beauty still objective, is whatever you want it to be, right? Like,
you're the most handsome one of the group. I think you're getting defensive because you're the most handsome one of the group. So I feel like that was a shot at you.
I was taking a negative shot at you, so that sucks. So I was like, I look at you and I think you're beautiful, but that's just me. No, I think
Ro is beautiful too. Don't leave him out of this conversation.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So wait.
I'll just be here in silence.
I'm confused. Are we calling each other beautiful or ugly now? Because that just went down south real quick. No, but but I think that's what it is. I think it's just like, eyes in the eye of the beholder. I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and it's like truly the things that you want to be beautiful are beautiful because they're beautiful to you, and who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what it means for the episode. I don't know what it means for Bleach, but that was my takeaway from that phrase.
So the only thing that I want to just say is that the next episode, guys, just to give you like a little bit more like excited for this, we might get a glimpse of the most hyped up character in this whole arc. Like next episode, like obviously there's gonna be a lot of good fights, but like the next episode, like people
the lieutenant or who?
No, like I don't want to say nothing, because maybe if we don't get it, then I'll be like, oh, we didn't get it. But like, there's a lot of people already talking about we're finally getting this character in the next one. So like, be excited about that, because that I truly believe will break like a lot of like it's just gonna make my head explode when we finally get this guy. Not only his introduction, but his power, where that's leading up to. It's just like I want to hype you guys up for it, because it's gonna be. If this was great, the next episode should be insane.
Awesome.
I'm excited. I don't even know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sold.
Okay, done. But all right. I mean, something that Ramon, do you want to tell people what we were doing this weekend that was kind of cool that we want to talk about for a second?
Yeah, I mean, if you're still here, first of all, again, thanks again for listening and supporting us. And I want to say that this time, truthfully, like, great, because Carlos and I on separate days had kind of the coolness. We were able to go to Fan Expo Chicago, which is kind of basically a movie, comic book, and anime and horror. I don't know why they throw horror in there as separate, but like that kind of convention. It's my first time going through like a convention of this level. Like I'm sure I've gone to other like nerdy stuff, but never movies, comics, and anime all at once. I had a blast. I think it was like sensory overload of just checking everything out. I'm a big collector and some random things. Believe me, if I had more money, I think I would have bought like half the convention, would have came somewhere like shipped to my house. But no. I love the experience, man. I think I loved seeing all the creators, people like in cosplay, people who love this nerdy stuff. And I say nerdy stuff because, that's what we're calling it, or even our podcast is like Senor Nerd. But in reality, I guess I just love seeing people being so passionate about something, that they're out there like experiencing this, sharing it with other people, dressing up. Like I think my favorite part about it was like, the writers and the artists and the comic book creators were probably some of the most vocal people. Like they were the ones definitely like, the salespeople who were selling their figures weren't doing a good job. Like these freaking writers and creators and animators and like artists were freaking killing it. And I loved like a lot of conversations that I had with people. I love some of the people that I met. And I don't know, it was just cool. So if like any of those of you guys have made it to this, or you get to hear us in the future, or we get to go back, I want to go back with force. So me and Carlos have been talking about this. Like, I would love to do this experience more on a level as the podcast, and be there to represent and just share that with you guys too. I don't know how you loved it, Carlos, but you look like you had fun.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. I mean, it's a little bit I'm about to reach my 40s in a couple of years. It felt like I got to see like the next generation, because there was so many kids, man, that were dressed like in such cool outfits. But I felt like a little bit of a creep being like telling like a 15-year-old possibly like, hey, take a picture with me. But if they would have asked me, I would have definitely done it, because there was one kid that was 12, and me and him were like me and him were the only, believe it or not, Itadoris in the whole convention. And when we saw each other, dude, like, you should have been. It was like that Spider-Man meme of like him looking at me and me looking at him, and it was this really, really fun moment. Just like you, Ramon, I think I could make like a whole day out of it. I feel like I just want to talk to people. I want to learn their stories. I want to spend time going through each one of the things and just kind of be like, oh, what do you do? How did this inspire you? What else do you do outside of this? Is it just like a once a year thing that you do? So I met a lot of cool people. Again, I hope that us three can go next time to one of these conventions. We'll dress up or wear something really cool and give people like, not only give people like, hey, here's something for you to listen to us, but just kind of like hype everybody up, because I feel like in a year from now, we're going to be in a totally different spot than we are today. And I just can't wait to meet these future potential followers by going to these conventions.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting in front of a different wall.
I don't know what that means, but
no, instead of this wall, I'll be in a different wall.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Maybe I'll have something on my back wall instead of just lights. Yeah. So
no, but it was fun, man. That was really fun, man. I kind of sucks that we didn't get to go together, but you know, we'll do one of these for sure. I think I got a feeling.
We're gonna drag Raul out there, and Raul.
I'll drag all two of you.
You guys could be my sugar daddies and buy me some figures, some collectibles.
I'm the one that needs figures.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. I'll buy you one.
I gotta build another thing if I want more figures. It's like figure overload behind me already.
Yeah.
And you know I'm waiting for that Toji toy to drop soon enough for me to get it. But I mean, that was it, guys. I mean, sucks that we didn't get a Jujutsu Kaisen. You know, another 2 weeks without it. Yeah, we didn't talk about One Piece. I'll be honest, I didn't even have time to see the newest episode, so I couldn't tell you nothing about Gear 5 other than it looked cartoonish. But you know, that was my take on Gear 5 in a cool way. Yeah,
in a cool way. Yeah. Raul, you still been avoiding it?
Raul was doing the salt shaker.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm still kind of trudging along my One Piece. Like, Doflamingo's defeated, and they're on to the next thing. But yeah, that Doflamingo arc was so long.
It truly was, man. You really got a backstory for everybody in that. I will say the Big Mama arc, it's a lot better. And then the Wano Kaido stuff is really, really excellent. Like, if I could tell Ramon, like, start at 900 episode, like, that's where I would tell you, Ramon, because that's when it's truly getting, like, really, really good.
I was like, no.
There's a few other arcs in there that are pretty good, too.
Yeah, there is, like, but it's like, if you watch those middle arcs, you have to truly start from the beginning, though.
See, I'm learning my lesson from Bleach. If I ever start One Piece, it's definitely going to be from the beginning and not like that somewhere. It just doesn't work. I mean, again, it works because it's good, but it just doesn't.
It's going to be you recovering from
it doesn't work to the fullest.
Yeah. One day you'll have the time, Ramona. I know it. You'll be like, all right.
He'll give you the time to do it.
There you go.
When you're in the retirement home, it's like, okay, I'll start my One Piece. Watch.
There you go. Hey, they do one better time to watch it. Like, shit. Maybe back then. I mean, later on, it'll be like 3D. Like, who knows?
or you can watch the One Piece version that cut down all the.
That's what I was thinking about it.
Yeah, I feel like somebody or the creators one day has to make like a cut of like, this is the essential One Piece true watch, just like they did for Dragon Ball Z.
Like Dragon Ball Kai.
Dragon Ball Kai, yeah. All right, guys. Well, we did our job. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, and thanks to everybody for listening. Adios.